The sky over the Kerch Strait was just beginning to lighten on December 6th, 2024. The first hints of dawn painted the horizon, casting a pale glow over the still waters and the imposing silhouette of the Crimean Bridge. Suddenly, a series of thunderous explosions shattered the calm, jolting Kerch residents awake in the early hours. The blasts echoed across the city, their shockwaves felt miles away. Russian air defense systems sprang to life, lighting up the night with tracer rounds and missile launches. But deeper, more powerful booms soon followed. Ukrainian drones had arrived, slipping past the defenses. Their target was clear, the infrastructure fueling Russia's war machine. The Crimean Bridge, Putin's ultimate prize and a vital supply route, was in their crosshairs. This was no random attack, it was a meticulously coordinated assault. Swarms of aerial drones and explosive-laden naval drones converged on the area, each with a specific mission. Social media lit up instantly with videos and reports of flashes, deafening blasts, and a raging fire near the Zaliv shipyard, a key Russian naval facility. Panic and confusion spread as the scale of the attack became clear. The message from Kiev was unmistakable. Nowhere in occupied Crimea is safe. Ukraine was demonstrating its reach and resolve. Russian authorities scrambled to respond, suspending all traffic on the Crimean Bridge at 5:17 a.m. Security forces rushed to the scene, setting up checkpoints and searching for further threats. The 12-mile structure, Putin's personal project and a symbol of Russian dominance, stood empty, a stark symbol of vulnerability and uncertainty. The Russian Ministry of Defense quickly claimed total success, insisting that all drones had been intercepted and no damage was done. But local reports painted a different picture. Explosions, fire, and a prolonged bridge closure told a story of chaos and damage that could not be hidden. The attack exposed cracks in Russia's defenses and forced a rare admission of risk from officials who usually project invulnerability. For hours, the bridge was silent, a monument to Ukraine's growing reach and Russia's shaken confidence. The world watched as the sun rose over the damaged span. The incident marked another bold chapter in Ukraine's relentless campaign to dismantle Russia's hold on Crimea, adding to a growing list of daring strikes. Each strike chips away at the myth of Russian invincibility, emboldening Ukraine and sending shockwaves through Russian ranks. The bridge, once a symbol of power and permanence, now stands as a stark reminder of the conflict's shifting tides and the uncertainty of war. Ukraine's tactics are evolving rapidly, with new technology and creative strategies reshaping the battlefield and catching Russian forces off guard. The dawn strike was not just an attack, it was a statement, a warning, and a demonstration of Ukraine's growing capabilities. The war for Crimea is entering a new, more dangerous phase, with both sides bracing for what comes next. The world is watching as the stakes rise with every explosion, and the future of Crimea hangs in the balance. For Ukraine, the Crimean Bridge is not just a structure. It is the main artery sustaining Russia's occupation in the south, a lifeline for their military operations. Every day it ferries troops, tanks, and supplies, keeping Russian forces in the fight, ensuring their presence remains strong. By attacking it, Ukraine aims to starve the Russian military of resources, cutting off their essential supply lines. The bridge is also a symbol, Putin's showcase of annexation, now a target for Ukrainian resolve and determination. Each strike undermines the Kremlin's narrative and boosts Ukrainian morale, showing the world their resilience. Ukraine's strategy isn't about a single decisive blow, it's about sustained pressure. The bridge is heavily fortified, so Kiev applies persistent pressure, drones, missiles, and special ops again and again, testing its defenses. Every closure disrupts Russian logistics, creating chaos and delays, complicating their military operations. The goal is to make the bridge unreliable, turning Crimea from a fortress into a vulnerable outpost, a strategic weak point. Severing this link would trap Russian forces, forcing them onto slower, riskier sea routes, increasing their vulnerability. Isolating Crimea is key to liberating it, a crucial step in reclaiming territory. These attacks are foundational steps in Ukraine's plan to restore its sovereignty, a calculated move towards freedom. The bridge is more than concrete, it's the linchpin of Russia's grip on the peninsula, a symbol of their control. Ukraine's campaign is calculated, relentless, and aimed at breaking that grip. weakening their hold. The battle for the bridge is the battle for Crimea's future, a fight for liberation and sovereignty. Russia's response to bridge attacks is a familiar mix of denial and bravado. Official statements claim flawless defenses, but evidence on the ground tells another story. The bridge is now one of the world's most heavily defended sites. Layered air defenses, radar reflectors, and smoke generators obscure it from prying eyes. Persistent Ukrainian attacks have forced Russia to adapt, moving valuable warships east to Novorossiysk and away from exposed positions. Makeshift defenses abound, decoy ship silhouettes, extra machine guns, and sailors on constant watch for sea drones. These measures reveal a military under pressure, scrambling to counter Ukraine's relentless innovation. The Black Sea has become a high-stakes arena of cat and mouse. Russia's naval posture is defensive, its reach diminished. Ukraine's tactics are forcing Moscow to rethink its strategy. The fight for the bridge is reshaping the entire Black Sea conflict. For Russia, the Crimean Bridge is both a symbol and a lifeline. It's a 12-mile declaration of ownership, opened by Putin himself as a show of power. Any damage is a blow to Russian pride and a threat to military logistics. The bridge now serves as a military highway, sustaining Russia's occupation in southern Ukraine. For Ukraine, it's the symbol of illegal occupation, a target for both justice and necessity. Each attack is a message. Ukraine rejects annexation and will fight to restore its borders. The bridge's dual role makes it the war's central flashpoint. Russia defends it to preserve power. Ukraine attacks to reclaim identity. Its fate is tied to the fate of Crimea and the war itself. The bridge is more than steel, it's a battleground of narratives. Every explosion is a contest of wills. The outcome here could decide the region's future. America's role in the bridge attacks is a careful balancing act shaped by both strategic interests and the need to avoid direct confrontation with Russia. Early in the war, US officials warned Ukraine not to strike the bridge, fearing that such an attack could dangerously escalate the conflict and provoke a harsh Russian response. But as the conflict dragged on and battlefield realities changed, Washington's stance began to shift, reflecting new calculations and growing support for Ukraine's ambitions. Quietly, the US began sharing intelligence and technical expertise, helping Ukrainian planners prepare for the summer's Operation Lunar Hail, a complex and risky mission. American-made ATACMS missiles were supplied to Ukraine, though some doubted whether these advanced weapons could actually destroy the heavily fortified bridge outright. The strike caused only minor damage to the bridge, but the collaboration between the US and Ukraine marked a significant turning point in their military partnership. The US provides tools, intelligence, and strategic guidance, but Ukraine ultimately bears the risks and consequences on the ground. Washington tries to empower Kyiv with resources and information, all while carefully managing the risk of escalation with Russia. The partnership is deepening, with both sides taking calculated risks to weaken Russia's grip and shift the balance of power. The bridge strikes are a clear sign of how far US support for Ukraine has evolved since the war began. Ukraine's fight is its own, but American backing, military, intelligence, and diplomatic, is crucial to its resilience and ability to strike back. The secret cooperation between the two nations signals a new, more assertive phase in their alliance, with higher stakes and greater risks. The stakes and the risks are higher than ever, as both nations navigate a dangerous and unpredictable path forward. The bridge attacks are just one part of Ukraine's broader Crimean gambit. The real goal: make Crimea untenable for Russian forces. Ukraine targets not just the bridge, but the Black Sea Fleet, airfields, command centers, and air defenses. Naval drones and missiles have sunk or damaged key Russian warships, including the Moskva. The constant threat has turned Crimea from a safe haven into a contested front line. Strikes on shipyards and infrastructure disrupt Russia's ability to repair and resupply. Operation Lunar Hail forced Russian assets to pull back, weakening their hold. Ukraine's campaign is systematic: attrition, disruption, and relentless pressure. Each bridge attack throws Russian logistics into chaos. Closures create bottlenecks, delaying vital supplies to the front. Russia's alternatives, slow ferries or risky land routes, are vulnerable to further attack. Supply delays mean shortages of ammo, fuel and food, sapping morale and combat effectiveness. Ukraine's pressure is economic warfare, making occupation costly and difficult. The strategy weakens Russia without a major battle. Turning the bridge into a liability degrades Russia's southern force. It's asymmetrical warfare at its most effective. Ukraine has transformed the Black Sea from a Russian stronghold into contested waters. Naval drones and Western missiles have sunk or damaged over 24 Russian vessels, including the flagship Moskva. The Russian fleet has retreated east, abandoning Sevastopol and ceding control of key maritime corridors. This shift has reopened grain export routes, vital for Ukraine's economy and global food security. The Russian Navy is now focused on survival, not power projection. Ukraine's innovation has humbled a much larger adversary. The Black Sea is now a symbol of Ukrainian resilience. Moscow faces a strategic dilemma it never expected. The attacks on the bridge and other assets mark a new phase in the war. Ukraine is no longer just defending, it's dismantling Russia's occupation at its core. The inability to protect the bridge is a political embarrassment for Moscow. Russia must now divert resources to Crimea, weakening other fronts. The campaign's success could force Russia to negotiate from a position of weakness. The fight for Crimea is now the war's central theater. Expect more daring Ukrainian attacks and intensified Russian defenses. The outcome will shape Europe's security and the principle of territorial integrity. The world is watching to see if the bridge and Russia's grip will fall. The battle for Crimea is just beginning.